Hey guys, welcome to my ranking of every movie I saw in 2019. Looks like I have a total of 37 movies here for y'all. This year I tried to kind of branch out more outside of my usual, blockbuster movie. So there's a lot more kind of miscellaneous movies, Christmas movies, horror movies, etc. My goal this year was to get to 30 and I almost got to 40. I think if I exceed 40 next year, instead of doing a ranking, I'll just do a top 10 best and a top 10 worst. There was also a couple movies this year I didn't get to see that I wanted to, namely Parasite. This movie just looked interesting and I really wanted to see what it was about. Hopefully I'll be able to pick it up when it comes to Redbox. There's a couple others I didn't get to see. Here they are.
I also want to just let you guys know, the more that I marinate on these movies and mull them over in my mind, my opinions are going to change. There is no way that 5 years from now, this ranking will be the exact same as it is now.
Especially if I go back and rewatch some of them, there's no way my opinions won't switch.
I also want to tell you guys, I'm only going to talk about each movie briefly.
If you want a more in-depth review, go watch Jeremy Johns or Chris Stuckman. If you want me to review one of these movies in more detail, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to get around to that. So yeah, without further hesitation, let's get started. At number 37 is XMen Dark Phoenix, or just Dark Phoenix, whatever it's called. What do people expect from this movie? This is what happens when you give a first-time director a big-budget blockbuster. Professor X and Beast both act way out of character. And the younger characters, especially Jean and Scott, are just very underdeveloped. On top of that, we have Jessica Chastain playing the most generic villain ever. So yeah, this movie's pretty terrible. I guess it's not awful. I don't think it's worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's still not good. I would be interested in seeing a Kinberg cut. Apparently that's a real thing, and so if that ever gets released, I'd be down for seeing it. At number 36 is Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this movie has a great premise. That's just one of the most fun premises I could ever think of. This little comic series was actually one of the first comics I ever collected. But unfortunately, the execution's pretty terrible. The directing, editing, writing, cinematography, it all just feels off. Batman's character arc also feels very sudden and very forced. I hope Batman Hush was better. I didn't get to see that, but I hope that's better, and I'm still looking forward to Superman Red Son. These animated DC movies, direct-to-DVD ones, they're kind of hit or miss. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. I hope Superman Red Son is good. Coming in at number 35 is Brightburn. Once again, this movie has a very creative premise. The acting from Elizabeth Banks and David Denman is good. The child actor, I'm blanking on his name, is also pretty good. But the movie follows the same formula as every horror movie about an evil child. There are no really original ideas. The ending is also very anticlimactic, so it's kind of a letdown. I would maybe be interested in seeing a sequel or a spin-off or something like that. But I wouldn't want to see a whole cinematic universe, maybe a trilogy, that'd be nice. At number 34 is Captain Marvel. So I didn't hate this movie as much as some people did, but it's still not great. Samuel L. Jackson's pretty good, Ben Mendelsohn's pretty good, Brie Larson, Annette Bening, they're fine, I guess. But the plot just doesn't really seem to have a unifying vision, you know what I mean? It feels like there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and if you go to this movie's Wikipedia page, that's really evident. I mean, I like a couple of the scenes and set pieces in this movie, but overall it's just fine. At number 33 is John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. I'm gonna get hate for putting this movie this low, but I just don't like these movies as much as some people do. This movie has great action and some fun characters, but the story is just utter nonsense. I feel like this movie is a setup for what this movie should have been. You know, John Wick trying to take down the High Council of Criminals or whatever they're called. But instead it's just action scene, action scene, action scene, and it's all just set up for something else. And I like the action. The action's good. I mean, these action scenes are very well choreographed, very well shot. But apart from that, at number 32 is Child's Play. This is a fun, campy horror comedy. The movie realizes how stupid its premise is, and so it doesn't take itself seriously, which I like. I love me a good B-movie, and this movie fulfills that. The bond between Andy and Chucky is the highlight of the movie. It feels genuine and not contrived. So yeah, this is a perfectly harmless little horror comedy. I'd say it's worth checking out if you want just a fun B-movie. At number 31 is Noelle. This is a cute, fun Christmas movie that can be enjoyed by the whole family. Anna Kendrick is the right amount of funny and ditzy. Bill Hader's having fun. This movie isn't anything special. It's really designed to be a Christmas movie that can be enjoyed by the whole family at Christmas time. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what I did. Like I said, I wouldn't call it anything special, but it's a harmless Christmas movie about family and the love of Christmas time. At number 30 is Godzilla King of the Monsters. This is exactly what I wanted from a Godzilla movie. We have the big giant monster battles, the chaos, the destruction. My audience cheered several times because these battles live up to the hype. Yeah, the human characters are bland, but it's Godzilla. Like, what do you want? This is exactly what you want from a Godzilla movie. It makes those executives at Toho proud. At number 29 is Zombieland Double Tap. This sequel was lots of fun. The cast was having just as much fun as they did 10 years ago. The script is funny, and the new characters are fun as well. Yeah, the ending feels a bit anticlimactic, but what do you want? This is a zombie movie. I'd say that it's exactly what you want from a Zombieland movie. No more, but no less. At number 28 is Ready or Not. This movie is just a fun horror comedy. Samara Weaving's great, Adam Brody's great, he's the best character in the movie. I like the visual style and the aesthetic of the movie. This is the type of horror movie I would need every now and then. You know, it's a perfectly harmless, straightforward horror film. It's not pretentious, it's not full of itself, it's just a nice, fun horror film. Relatable characters, likable characters, all of that. At number 27 is Yesterday. Danny Boyle's cute rom-com is exactly that, a cute rom-com. It has a lot of potential, but it just falls into the rom-com formula. The leads are good, and the movie has a great premise, but the movie lets the protagonist off at every corner. He's never punished for his actions. This movie could have been, a commentary on the commercialization of music, the impact of art on society, or literally anything else. But instead, it's just a formulaic rom-com. At number 26 is Rocketman. This Elton John biopic was inventive and fresh. Taron Egerton and Jamie Bell play their parts well. The musical numbers are also fun. The problem is that this movie feels like it's fast-forwarding through major events in his life. His first marriage is come and gone in 3 scenes. So overall, this movie's good, Taron Egerton is excellent, but it's just not great. At number 25 is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This low-budget, PG-13 rated horror movie is actually pretty fun. I really like the direction of this movie. The director really knows how to pile on suspense until the climactic moment. The acting is good too, even by the child actors. It's a good, funny, non-pretentious horror movie. Number 24 is It Chapter 2. I feel like this movie is the best version of itself. I haven't read the It book, but everyone says that the parts about the adults are just not as interesting as the parts about the kids. And since this movie focuses only on the parts about the adults, I feel like it was kind of doomed to be not as good as the first one. The cast is good, and I think the first and third acts work really well. The problem is the middle act. It's the same scene over and over. Each of our, 7, 8 main characters goes somewhere, has a flashback, battles Pennywise, learns a lesson, and then moves on. And it's that same scene over and over. So this movie's not awful, but it does leave a lot to be desired. And number 23 is Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. This movie is pure, unadulterated, cinematic junk food. It's exciting, mindless, chaotic nonsense in the best way possible. The lead actors are having fun and the action scenes are ridiculously stupid. This is an archetypal Taco Bell movie. At number 22 is Glass. M. Night Shyamalan's cinematic universe culminates in a pretty mediocre way, honestly. This movie isn't bad, at least in my opinion, but it could have been so much more. M. Night's talents for suspense, tension, and scares is still here, but there's some very big script issues. The plot is way too slow, and the ending is very disappointing. So it's not bad, but it just could have been so much better. Unbreakable is such a masterpiece, and the follow-up to it's just fine. At number 21 is Crawl. This is exactly what you want from a straightforward horror movie. This movie is not pretentious, it's not full of itself, it's not trying to be about society or some grand nonsense. It's just a simple suspense thriller. Kaya Scodelario and Barry Pepper do a good job. Alexander Aja is good at building suspense. The character drama does feel a bit forced at times, but what can you do? I also don't really like how the movie just kind of ends without much of a resolution. It's still a nice, straightforward horror movie without all the pretentious nonsense that some of the other movies on this list may have, but yeah. At number 20 is The Peanut Butter Falcon. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for putting this movie this low on the list, but it just didn't do a lot for me. Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, and Zach Gottsagen are great. The relationship between Tyler and Zach feels genuine and earned. But the movie just feels kind of short. I feel like not all of the emotional beats work, especially involving the stuff between Shia LaBeouf and Dakota Johnson. It's still a heartwarming movie with a good sentiment about people with disabilities. I just don't think it's as great as some suggest. At number 19 is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This Mr. Rogers biopic is a archetypal feel-good movie. Tom Hanks and Matthew Rhys are fantastic. They play off each other well, and the relationship between them feels genuine. Some people complain that this movie focuses too much on Lloyd Vogel and not as much on Mr. Rogers, but that doesn't bother me, because the Lloyd Vogel stuff is actually interesting. His relationship with his dad, his wife, his son, all of that is interesting. I just think this was a very heartwarming, very fun, just a good movie. So yeah, that'll bring us to the end of this first half of the video. I'll try to have the second part up within a week. Hopefully I will. I'm sorry that this video was late. I started school up again recently and have been busy with that. But I'll try to have more videos out soon. Star Wars ranking, that Nightmare on Elm Street video essay I've been talking about forever, and the second part, that'll probably be up sometime in the next week or two. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Bye.